Hello, everyone. Welcome in the next episode from the series Women and Psychedelics. Today's topic is super beautiful one, and we call it the plant medicine and feminism. My name is Susanna. I'm certified breathwork facilitator and as well educator and guide in the field of womb awakening. And today I have a special guest with me, Cecile. Cecile Giovanetti. She's a dear friend, she's a sister, fellow witch, and on a certain level, I would say a colleague as well, or soon colleague. Cecile is passionate about the psychedelic and both in the personal but as well in the academic way. She's a trained neuroscientist. She has a master's in public health, where she studied the use of ayahuasca in addiction treatments. And right now, Cecile is in Mexico, where she's pursuing her PhD research in integrating the plant medicine into indigenous health care. So well done, babe. Lovely to have you here. Lovely to
Thank
have
you
you
so
here.
much, Susie. Yeah, it's a
Hello.
pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Also, today is just landed like a thank you, a technology for making this happen, that we can have this conversation like from Portugal to Mexico and in real time be speaking about super exciting topics. Yeah,
Yeah.
so thanks. And just guys, before we even dive into the first question, I would like to bring a little disclaimer, and it's the fact that in this interview or in this talk, we will be with Cecile sharing purely our own experiences and our own personal journeys. And as well, maybe some observation from extensive research that Cecile does. So yeah, it's just, yeah, we are going to share our own personal experiences and the journeys with the plant medicine. Is there anything that you would like to add to this beautiful disclaimer in the beginning?
Yeah, that's it. I think there's many truths about the use of psychedelics and plant medicine, and all the information is out there on the internet. We're also contributing to that with this podcast, so we're not encouraging anyone to consume any illegal substances. We're just kind of reflecting on these topics.
Yeah.
And we're not also giving any medical advice. We're just sharing perspective and some anecdotes that we've seen on our paths and on our journeys.
Beautiful. Thank you for enriching it. Beautiful. Cecile, my first question for you is how did you come into this world of the plant medicine and psychedelics? Like, how was your personal journey, and what actually guided you to do the research in the field of psychedelics and the plant medicines?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so actually the very first seeds, the origin, is something that I don't quite remember, and I would love to regain that memory. But somehow at 14 years old, being an awkward teenager, growing up in a small town in south of France, I found myself stumbling upon a discussion forum back in the days of the discussion forum of the internet before social media. And this forum was called Lucid State. It was a French-speaking forum, and it was full of people discussing all things psychedelics. It was very underground. There was a lot of sharing of detailed information from cultivation of different plants and extraction techniques, trip reports, philosophical discussion, and lots of humor. I was really bored at school and really thinking like, wow, these guys have something they're passionate about. There's a lot of knowledge there. And beyond that, there is also a transcendence and, an experimentation with consciousness that really spoke to me. I think I was always really attracted to the supernatural, the metaphysical, and suddenly, I was presented with a set of tools to be able to explore and experiment with consciousness. So that really captivated my attention. I read, pages and pages of forum discussions. I experimented with what I could at the time, with whatever kind of legal highs were available in my hometown without a credit card. So laughing gas and dextromethorphan, that's about all I could find until I started growing some mushrooms. At age 16, I got a bank card so I could order them online. And from there, just kind of like slowly developing a relationship with these medicines, experimenting with them, making lots of mistakes along the way, sharing them with friends. That's kind of how it started, really from curiosity. And forwards quite a few years into the future, and the research that I started doing, for me, I kind of realized that I had a lot of skills that I could contribute. I did my first degree in neuroscience, and then I studied public health in a master's. I studied a lot. I had a lot of research skills. And originally, I didn't really think much about putting that in service to psychedelics and the kind of, the awareness raising and activism in favor of using these medicines in a safe and therapeutic way. But then the tides kind of started changing, public opinion started changing, more and more people were looking at these medicines, and I just thought like, okay, maybe there's something I can do there. So I went to Peru and I started working with the Takiwasi Center, that's an addiction clinic. And just at that time, they were looking for a researcher to support them with data collection and analysis of a big international research project, following their patients in treatment for addiction over a long period of time. And I just thought, well, I've received so much from these medicines. I really believe in them. I really believe in them, becoming more available, more recognized. That the legal framework around them also evolves, to allow people who need them to access these kinds of treatments. So this is something I can do. This is a form of reciprocity that I can give back for everything that I received, and put my research skills in service to establishing the safety and therapeutic potential of these medicines. So that was how I got into research.
Beautiful. Wow, beautiful. For me, it's always fascinating to see like how people came from from their own exploration and, into really like doing a research about whichever topic, it doesn't need to be just a psychedelics, but, that there is a background of your own interest and your own many mistakes and many lessons that you learn for sure throughout the way. So thank you for sharing a little bit of your background. So my second question for you is, where do you see and where do you observe the energetic difference between the mixed environment and the purely female or purely women circles during the ceremonies? Where do you, how would you distinguish those two energetic fields when it's a mixed environment and just purely women's circles?
Jumping straight in. So let's go. I feel like, to start with some context, I feel that in the West, we don't really know what ritual is. Many of us don't have much experience of what it means to be in a ceremony, in a group, in a sacred space, to have a collective intention. I certainly didn't. I grew up without any form of religious or spiritual education or tradition. So really my first ritual spaces were, psychedelics and plant medicine ceremonies. And then what is it that makes it a ceremony? What is it that lets our system kind of know, like, okay, this is a space where we're going to be showing up for ourselves in prayer, to be looking within. It's contained, it's sacred. You know, so some people go very far with this, having like complicated altars and
Mm,
rituals and these sorts of things.
mm,
But actually, it's very simple. It's about just sitting together and putting our minds together. And I feel like obviously we can do this in a mixed setting. If there is
mm,
this collective intention of, all right, let's go within, let's explore our consciousness, let's heal, let's pray. But if you're coming together in a group of women, it's already obvious. It's already obvious that we're doing something special here. This is not just our everyday autopilot kind of mode. There is a
yeah.
gathering, there is a collective intention. So I think that's the first thing, to reawaken this sense of like, all right, this is an intentional space. There is a ritual.
Mm,
Um, and then the second thing is honestly safety. I think in the circles where I've worked, when women come into a women-only space, there's this sense of like, ah,
yeah. Big
ah,
exhale.
right, like,
Yeah.
thank you. I was waiting for this, and sometimes I didn't
Yeah.
even know that this was what I
Mm,
needed. But like,
yeah.
oh,
Suddenly you
like.
can let go of your roles, right? It's certain like a permission to just let go, right? You don't need
Yes.
to stand into any roles.
Yes, you
Yeah.
can you can put down this mask, you can let down your guard a little bit,
Yeah.
because I think consciously or not, a lot of women just carry this. I gotta watch out,
Yeah.
around
Yeah.
around males, as beautiful and
Mm,
caring as they can be. There is always a certain tension at play.
yeah.
So that's what I've really noticed. And then there's, if you go a little bit deeper into what this safety means, there is a sense of what are some of the things that are allowed to come out. And
Mm,
a lot of just let's say the wounds or the difficulties around being a woman are allowed to be expressed and shared and recognized and held collectively, so much more in a female space.
yeah.
And I think especially about, let's say harassment or, just like inappropriate crossing of sexual boundaries,
Yeah.
that don't tend to come up so much in mixed spaces, but in all female spaces, when one person might share a story
Mm,
that's, weighing
mm,
especially on her heart, or, that might be especially fresh. And then invariably,
yeah.
other women will start kind of
Yeah.
validating and sharing their own journeys as well, and just allowing that to come out. So yeah, I think overall there's on the one hand, like this sense of collective intention, sacred work, like stepping into a space which is special and which is
Mhm.
intentional, coming out of the everyday. um and with that comes obviously the reawakening of the witch and the wild woman self, and all of these sides of the women archetypes that might not be able to express themselves as much in the everyday. And then
Mhm.
there's this sense of safety and support. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, it's like I remember even that I saw a podcast. I don't remember exactly the name, but it's a woman that she contributed to this book, Psychedelic Mysteries of the Feminine, and she was sharing of there is a real difference, like she can sense it and she experienced it many times when just women gathers and when is a woman who serves the medicine, not a male. And with this, I would have an additional question, like, do you see or do you observe any difference between when a male serves the medicine and when the woman, or versus when the woman serves the medicine, the plant
Mhm.
medicine, whichever medicine it can be, maybe different of approach, or how they guide the ceremony, how
Mhm.
would you describe that?
Yeah, actually, I kind of realized that I haven't been in many ceremonies held by men. In most
Mm-hmm.
cases, the ceremonies that I've been in with men serving medicine, they had their partner, their female
Mm-hmm.
partner with
Mm-hmm.
them. And I really appreciate that, and I really appreciate this kind of balance. Yeah, I do feel like in some instances when maybe, for example, I've drunk ayahuasca with some of the people that I'm used to drinking with, and the woman, the partner was maybe gone, or not in the
Mm-hmm.
ceremony on that day. Uh, I always miss her. Whoever that might be, there's a couple different,
Mm,
but
mm,
I miss the sweetness, and
mm,
the power that's within that sweetness too. I miss this kind of refining of the emotional fields.
mm,
I miss the sense of maybe being able to drop in and let go a little bit more. Um,
mm,
yeah. That being said, I think male presence in ceremonies, when the energies are balanced and aligned, can be really like a power force, energetically, like really kind of driving that boat with a sure.
mm, mhm,
So I
mhm.
also really appreciate that, like in a moment of dispersion and chaos, like to have like
Yeah.
someone really, yeah, just guiding that energy with a lot of straightness and then focus. Something I really appreciate. And there was something else I wanted to mention about the
Mhm,
difference between this mixed and an all-female field, is also my perspective.
mhm,
If I'm going to be holding a ceremony with all females, I tend to feel a lot safer myself in
mm,
all of the guides,
mhm,
So I feel safer to experiment a little bit more with the live music, with the voice, um, with maybe different ways of ritual or maybe different ways of holding the ceremony. So that's something that I myself also really appreciate in that moment.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Mm,
And
ye-
I've grown a lot through that. Like I also
mm,
noticed the all-female spaces that I've been in have also allowed me to kind of like test some things out that I might have been a bit too unsure to test in
mhm,
a space,
mm,
but then
mm.
able to carry it forward afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I don't know why this term is ringing in my head, but it's like the space of permission. It's like, do you feel that maybe for you personally, in the space like with women's only, it's kind of, like, is there like, let's say, the space of permission for you, like, hey, okay, we can do it, we can try it, or yeah, let's try the music, or let's try this, or let's try that. um, would you resonate with that? Would you
Mhm.
resonate with that? Yeah.
Definitely,
Mm,
definitely. And there's also a sense that there is already a collective intelligence which is holding a coherence, you
yeah.
know?
Mm,
So so as a guide, you don't need to work really, really hard to be like, okay, I really got to make sure that we're all on the same page and everyone feels safe with one another, because
mm, mm,
just the all-female space is already doing so much towards creating that. So
yeah.
that gives a bit more leeway. Yeah.
Mm,
And all
yeah.
and women hold space for each other, even if they're just participating in ceremony. I felt it so strongly so many times.
Mm,
One sister crying on one end of the ceremony room, and everyone else knowing what she's going through, and
yeah.
really supporting her.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, thank you for bringing this up, because it's really a bridge for my next question. And there's like, again, from your own personal point of view, or based on the experiences that you have, like, where do you see, or what is the potential and the opportunities that are being created in this, like, a purely women's circles while working with the plant medicine, right? You already touched some of those bits a few minutes ago, but where do you see the potential and the opportunities in these like only women circles while working with the plant medicine?
Nice question.
Mm.
Yeah, well, where to start? I think first starting with this healing, and sense of, we've already touched upon that sense of safety, that sense of permission, the trust that's kind of more easily built. So what does that mean in terms of, allowing psychological processes of healing, of completion, of integration to go through? It means a lot.
Yeah.
Like we touched upon this, sexual trauma and just harassment, and having a space to hold and discuss that, having a space to go deeper into issues around sexual health and reproductive lives. I think that's also very deep. So, just being able to tune into a little bit more of the female identity and the specific physical and mental health problems that women go through, and just having a container that potentiates, that allows that, and that potentiates that healing. So I think that's one thing. And then another, for me, I believe in the revolution, and much in the same way that I see my research as activism, it's not just pure academic interest of like trying to answer these research questions. Like the research is activism to establish these medicines as safe and efficient, and sacred, so that people stop going to jail for that, and so that patients can access treatments. So what's the activism in creating a women-only space? By the way, we're talking a lot about this, but I'm also in full support of mixed
Absolutely,
space. So
absolutely. But the topic is the plant medicine and the feminism,
yes,
and
that's
yeah,
what we're focusing.
we created this, this talk with the intention to bring this focus on a women's only and the potential of these spaces. But yeah, absolutely, we are both absolutely up to and
We agree.
with yeah, we are
Yeah.
on the same page. So yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just precious to have the opportunity to work on, specific pockets, configure, constellate consciousness and the people that we surround ourselves with,
Yeah.
and that leads us to. So, continuing on this idea of, what is this activism for, of creating a women-only space? Okay, it's to allow the healing, of the collective trauma and the wounds, as well as the personal stories that women go through. But it's also about activation, it's also about awakening this inner wisdom, this flame. It's about reflecting it within one another, because if I'm coming to a women's circle and I can see that, these women around me are magical being, full of wild and mysterious beauty, full of subtle wisdom, full of strengths, then I'm putting that in the circle and we can all see it. And, and so it's really about that. It's really about activating one another and just empowering ourselves for this kind of secret society. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thanks. Thanks for thanks for sharing that. And again, I would have just little like additional question. Where do you see the potential, sorry, potential, let's say in the spectrum from the physical, the physical healing up to really the mystical visionary aspects, of this plant medicine or the female only circles, because it's you mentioned this like awakening and reflection on all these like healing and sharing our own stories or sharing these collective stories that all women experience on a certain level or that we can really tune into. If one woman shares like, I really wish to get pregnant and be a mother, we can all feel it so deeply with her, you know. So there is this beautiful aspect of healing. But what about the physical aspect, or the aspect of the possible physical healing of different diagnoses? Like, did you get in touch with, you know, like women using plant medicine to heal different, you know, physical manifestation? So how would you, if you would put it in certain segments, like from the physical up to, let's say, the spiritual and mystical aspect of the healing opportunities, let's say, yeah, in the
Yeah,
women circles.
what kind of healing can this bring to women when
Yeah,
they're working collectively on these different levels?
yeah.
Um, well, yeah, so starting with the physical, I have to put my researcher geeky goggles on
Should I
and
also put
say,
mine?
yes,
Okay.
there's a
Here we
reason why
go.
we're friends,
Okay.
you know.
Exactly.
So
Researcher glasses.
yep,
So,
yep. So I think saying that actually there isn't that much research on healing physical ailments through psychedelics and plant medicine.
mhm,
There is some. Um, and then, you know, different plant medicines also have different profiles regarding that. I think probably one of the most indicated medicines for physical healing is ayahuasca, because it
mhm,
has longer half-life. Like, it kind of stays in your body for longer, it affects your body for longer, and it affects many systems in the body. It's not this very specific, like, serotonergic acting psychedelic, you know. It
yeah.
really transforms your metabolism in your whole body for several days. Uh,
Mhm,
and I, you know, I'm thinking here especially about endometriosis, which, thank God, is gaining more attention recently. But you know, it's awfully common condition that affects so many,
mhm,
and still doesn't get, has like very good treatment. So here I actually want to share a recent story from some of the work that I'm surrounded by and collaborating with here in Mexico, of an indigenous woman from Mexico who had endometriosis and went to Colombia
mhm,
to heal herself with ayahuasca, with a traditional healer, Taita, uh,
mhm,
un Taita colombiano.
mhm,
And she got, you know, she stayed there for a few weeks, and she found much benefit in using this ayahuasca. So the Taita gave her a little bottle to microdose every day, and she brought that back to Mexico. Unfortunately, she was stopped at customs and sent to jail for over a year
mm,
reading trial. And she just got released, I think 3 weeks ago, thanks to the legal support of one of the amazing women that I'm working with here, Doctora Anya
mm.
Luisa Veder, who stood as an expert, uh, giving an expert testimonial in the courts that led to her release. So, you know, that's one example of someone, you know, using plant medicine for using a physical condition.
Yeah.
I think, you know, in terms of the woman condition, I also really believe in the potential of mushrooms, for example, to process the grief that can be associated
Mm,
with an abortion,
yeah.
or to work through this kind of initiation and coming of age, to pave the way for motherhood, to pave
Mm,
the way for menopause, you know, this kind of, yeah, this more like spiritual work, you know,
yeah.
of stepping into this identity of like, all right, you know, I'm ready to embrace this change as a woman. I'm part of this flow of life, of this wheel of life. I think medicines have a lot of potential with that. And again, you know, in a collective female space, that's something which finds synergy with
Mhm.
group. So that's going a little bit more into this emotional work. And then the potential for transformation, going into a bit more of perhaps the spiritual, the collective. I think it's really for women to be able to come together as sisters. Where, you know, sometimes we're taught that we live in this very performance-based society, you know, so it's like, who's doing better, you know, who's performing the best, you know, who's the best mother, who's the best, I don't know, professional, who's the most beautiful, you know, based to some external beauty standards. And really, you know, coming into an all-female space, as long as we're all holding this intention of being sincere, you know, of being kind, of being truthful, which goes deep, you know, we do have a shadow, so that's the work that we need to be aware of. If we're really, true and sincere, I think it's also kind of changing that collective energy from competition or tourism and into just a loving sisterhood, you know, a weave of supports of women of different ages, of different backgrounds, and coming into this, just this unconditional love and support for our sisters.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I resonate so much with what you are saying. I would just come back to exactly what you share about your own perception or your own point of view about the opportunities or the healing powers or the how to say the potential to heal, you know, not just on the emotional and spiritual level, but also on the physical one, thanks to the plant medicines. And as I see and as I experience many times through my own body, not just with the plant medicine, but things are really interconnected, you know, even that I would try to separate the body from the mind and emotion from the body, it just doesn't work with me personally. And yeah, I know what kind of troubles can, for example, unprocessed grief or suppressed anger can really create in, or that created in my own body, you know, and how like unprocessed grief really shaped me in a quite painful way, you know, or I experienced quite like a painful months thanks to unprocessed grief. And I didn't know, you know, I didn't know that like a thing happened, you know, I thought like, or my head, you know, my head said like come on, nothing happened, or much worse things are happening to other people, you know, it's like it's not a big deal. You know, it's like the mind created you know, try to just protect me. But once I started to really like work with these you know, the hidden emotions, it relieved so much energy from my own body and so much unprocessed right stuff. And what I'm talking about that I really see, and as I work with the women mostly, so you know, sometimes they are coming with a certain diagnosis, sometimes they are coming with a certain, okay, this is happening when I'm in my body, I don't understand what's going on, you know. And always when we tap into the story behind, because I really believe that each manifestation, the physical manifestation, has its own roots, you know, somewhere. And it doesn't need to be always a physical, it can be exactly emotional, it can be some energetic imbalance. And as I experience in exactly the women circle with the plant medicine, like I saw a great potential for healing and on so many different levels. You know, sometimes we can come with the intention of like of our to look in our diagnosis, and we can see the whole story behind. You know, and based on this this vision we had, or based on this, you know, chance to see beyond, we can really work on the topic maybe from a little bit different perspective, which may be super beneficial. Or at least I found it quite a few times for myself, and I saw many women, like exactly like a tapping into this hidden, suppressed, unexpressed or shadow parts, exactly, and how this affects also, for example, their menstrual cycle, or how their, you know, like a period got back, or cycle harmonized, or, you know, they conceived a child that they couldn't, you know, hold before in their own bodies. Like there is so many
All these
stories.
stories are real. Yeah.
Exactly, like they are not scientifically, you know, proven, or there is maybe not such data in the research, but exactly, I saw it, and I'm seeing it many times. In yeah,
We
in
call it anecdotal evidence with our geeky classes.
cool, cool.
I think
Now
there's
I know the
something.
new term.
Yeah. There's something that I'm really feeling is also wanting to be expressed on this
Mm,
topic, and I'm just gonna put it out there, for anyone listening, because I think it's really important. It's the topic of body image.
mm, mm,
And I think definitely for me, and I think for many others, plant medicine has really taken me into this place of like, your body is sacred no matter what.
mm,
Every woman is a goddess. And I think when we come together in all female circles, especially for example with our friends the mushrooms, that help us to see so much beauty out there. Um, there is this sense of like, wow, if only these women could see through my eyes how beautiful they are,
mm, mm,
and coming into like this truth of sacred space. That's all right. You're not perfect. You're just you. You're not adhering to some external beauty standard. You're
yeah,
just animated by spirit moving through you, and that's what's making you beautiful. And I think these experiences in women's circles can really help us to tune into that. And I think that's
mm,
important, because once we are able to accept, who we are in our bodies,
yeah,
all of these threatening messages from society trying to destabilize us and trying to make us believe that we're not perfect and we need to buy just this one more thing in order to get there,
yeah,
don't have that much grip on us, and we just
yeah,
become that much more empowered. So I think that was important to mention.
yeah. Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. And again, I feel that this is something that it's um like a really naturally happening in these women's only spaces, you know, that I feel that, or again, for me personally, um, when I enter these spaces, I feel that like I don't need to perform, you know, like, or well, I don't need to perform anyway, but sometimes yeah, it's like maybe that's why this word, like the space of permission, like really like you know, like be there, or when I'm there as who I am, you know, with all my in my mind imperfectness, you know, or yeah, and seeing other women, it's yeah, it's again collective intelligence, and the collective healing can take the place naturally. Yeah, and the body image is definitely a big one, a big topic. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, Susie, let me just reverse the roles for a while and ask you a question,
Ah,
because I think you have some
here
interesting,
we are.
yeah, I
Mm,
think you have some interesting inputs on this idea as well. Like, you're dedicating your life to guiding, counseling women. You have
mm,
this practice where you've been like following women in all sorts of different situations with health
mm,
issues, emotional issues. Uh, so how do you see that? Like, how do you see, maybe some of the women that you're following, like, how do you believe that they could benefit from an experience like that? Like, what do you think can be unlocked or tapped
mm,
into through this
mm.
therapeutic experience in a female space that you think would be beneficial to
Yeah, thank you for
them?
wow, thank you for this question. Um, well, honestly, like for me, working with the plant medicine, and since I entered this like the womb womb focused journey that was basically really like the intention was just heal myself, you know. And always when I got in touch with the plant medicine, if I want it or not, it always guided me on a certain level to, you know, to the womanhood topic or the working with the feminine or directly to the womb, like, you know, like in the center of all all of that, you know. And I definitely am still on the journey to exploring it for myself, you know. So I'm kind of like okay, like getting to know yeah, getting to know the potential that for me was like incredible. Like the plant medicine was a huge part of my own journey, of my own healing journey. And as a woman, as a woman with a womb, you know, as a womb healing journey. And honestly, what I'm really curious about and I'm fascinated with, it's the use of mushrooms with the womb work, which is something that really came into my life like few months ago. Well, few months, like, well, more actually, not few months, like 1.5 year. Well, it's not few months, it's like 1.5 year. And it wasn't like that I would be like taking mushrooms and suddenly I got this message like, hey, you should work with us in the womb. But it really came in normal waken life, like you know, in normal daily life. I started to receive these like, hey Susie, like explore the mushrooms and the womb work, you know, how they work together, which I'm doing right now, you know, not right now, but yeah, in the last months. And I definitely, yeah, I see the potential of healing on the emotional level, like wow, like for me personally, it's working well on the emotional level. But what I also feel that it's is the general well-being. You know, it's a general well-being that it's being reminded so deeply. You know, like a really, yeah, with the mushrooms. Honestly, I am not, I don't know if I could say like where I see the potential for other women, but I can see like where I see the potential for myself. But yeah, based on the experiences that I had with the ayahuasca and with the mushrooms, um, I I absolutely resonate with this full spectrum healing from the physical, with the story behind getting a different perception, emotional release, you know, exactly being held in a safe space. It's healing by itself up to the visionary and spiritual fields. So this is definitely where I see the potential as well. That's why also my question, it was also my question for you. But um yeah, but um also yeah, also one thing that I would like to share, it's as I'm entering this world of the mushrooms, many times actually with the intention to connect with the womb or to explore, um, I see that there is a great potential, not just with the like womb healing and exactly like the healing the stories of the womb. You know, this is the big one, like the healing the stories of the womb, because many women hold many stories in their womb. You know, like the womb is really a space where the stories are being carried, you know, from generation to generation, and the beliefs that are being carried from generation to generation. But what I just would like to point it out, it's also great potential for getting ready actually by this work, um, to get ready to bring a new life and a new, yeah, the new life into a new space, I would say, you know, because what I feel, or what I'm getting from the mushrooms, it's like okay, before anything new want to be entered, like let's see what we can let go, what kind of stories, what kind of beliefs, what kind of energies, and it can be connected, about our own personal stories or really this collective stuffs, that we all carry in our own bodies and in our own wombs as a women. Did I answer this question that I absolutely wasn't ready for? Sorry,
Yeah,
maybe I
it
got
makes
really
sense.
because honestly, I really, it's a beautiful question and I love that. And sometimes I feel there's some, even that, that I do all these things. For example, with the plant medicine, is for me such like a intimate thing. It's like this is
Mm.
just my own journey. It's like a and yeah, I am exploring it. And as I said, like even if I want or not, always when I'm entering the plant medicine ceremony, it's awakening this womb consciousness, the womb healing aspects, and as I said, the
You're so
medicine
connected to it
taught
as
me a
well.
lot. It was a great, like a great teacher, and wow, a lot of work that I wasn't able to do on my own happened in the spaces like that, you
Mhm.
know. So
In
yeah,
fact, many times I feel like when we're in a ceremony, we are in the womb. Uh,
yeah.
I've even seen it, I'm looking
Mm,
around me in the room and I'm like, this is a
yeah.
uterus. Oh my
Yeah,
God, I am being born
absolutely.
right now.
And what is beautiful that that it works vice versa. And this is something, something really, it was wow, so fascinating for me. Like when I started to do my own womb work, I felt like oh my God, it was like a constant ceremony, or it was just so deep. It was like I really felt this, the presence of ayahuasca, the presence of ancestors. It was really, and I did it in a, let's say, conscious state, without any use of any medicine. Like when I did my own practices, my own journeys with the womb, I felt like it really opened the energetic spaces, and I really felt the strong presence of the earth, of the Mother Earth, of the Gaia, of the plant world, of the healing plants. It really awakened just doing these practices with my own, working with my own body, you know,
Mhm.
awakened this really strong connection to the earth and to the plants and to these realms which are invisible, but we all can sense them somehow. And yeah, it definitely felt like the ceremonial work, the work that happened in the ceremony. So it happened just through the practices with the womb, which is beautiful, that we don't need to be inserting anything like any other plants or any other, you know, um, plant medicines to be experiencing their presence through our own bodies and through our own wombs. Plus, we don't even need to have a womb, which is also interesting to say. We don't need to have a womb to do the womb work, and to have this experience, because really the womb, it's the collective, is the collective imprint that we all have, because we all been there. So even there is a great potential for women who, for example, had a hysterectomy, or don't have, or they were born with a certain parts of the reproductive system, or for whatever reason, they just had to be operated, but it doesn't mean that when a woman doesn't have a womb, they cannot do the womb work, because I would say especially those one can do it, and they can greatly benefit from that.
And it sounds like an amazing tool for integration too. I feel
Absolutely.
in many ways, whatever tool, whatever modality helps us to get in touch with ourselves, get in touch with the deeper layer of
Yeah.
ourselves, without needing to take an external substance to go into an altered state of consciousness, I think is just really beneficial to be able to
Mm.
down and to apply into everyday life the insights and the energies of a plant medicine ceremony. So it sounds like a
Absolutely.
synergy
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm not surprised that in a way, like when the mushrooms came into my life with this like we are going to teach you. It's like they are, like I do my own practice, for 5 years I am on this journey, like dedicating my life and my attention to studying that on so many different levels. So sometimes when the teachers from the outside, and it can be teachers from the plants as nettles, it was ayahuasca at some point, and now the mushrooms, right, in such a way that I was like, I was resisting to it like for half a year, until I got the message from you. Until I got the message from you, I said, okay, that's clear. And you actually, honestly, Cecile, you made my dream come true, because I really deeply wished to experience, to be in a women's only circle with the medicine. It was really, I was really calling for it, and yeah, so like the experience with you was really the first one, and I was just so incredibly grateful for it, because I could really, there I could for the first time really feel like, okay, so this is it, where like really, when there is the women's only space with the plant medicine, and it was incredible, and it was incredible, and it really, like, that was the point that I said yes to a mushrooms and the womb healing, because it's, yeah, and since then I'm exploring it on different aspects, but yeah, it was incredible. Yeah, so thank you for it. Thank you for being my gate opener. Yeah, yeah, beautiful. Cecile, I have one more question for you, and it's actually it's a nice one, because it's a personal question, but I believe that it can, like, other women can benefit from it, and it can also bring maybe your experience with the plants, and how did they, or where do you also see the potential in the healing journey. And my question for you, it's I would like to tap a little bit deeper into your own story, because I know that you were born with a really unique condition that affected your reproductive system, and your reproductive system, the female reproductive system. And how was your journey? Um, how was your journey with this condition? If you would like to tell us, if not, it's absolutely okay. But if you would like to bring us a little bit into the background, of this story, and how the plant medicine helped you on your journey with the womanhood.
Mhm. Mm.
Mm.
Yeah. So I'm not used to talking about this publicly,
Mhm.
and I'm glad we had a briefing before doing this podcast, and I agreed to talk about
Mm.
it because, yeah, it's really personal, and
Mm.
it's not something that I go on every roof, but
Yeah. Share
yeah,
as much
who
you
knows?
feel like. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was born with a genetic condition called the androgen insensitivity syndrome, which is classified as an intersex condition. And basically what it means is that I have XY chromosomes. But the gene that normally allows for the masculinizing androgen testosterone hormones to act upon the cells throughout the body is deficient. In my case, completely deficient.
Mm.
There's also a form of this condition where it's partial, androgen insensitivity syndrome, which means the gene is half deficient, which means the hormones are half working. And then you really find yourself having ambiguous sexual characteristics. But in my case, because it's a complete androgen insensitivity syndrome, I developed looking fully like a woman on the outside, but missing some important elements of the female reproductive system. So I don't have periods. I'm not able to have children. I had to take hormonal replacement therapy as a young teenager to kind of kickstart puberty and start developing to the secondary female characteristics. And I had to have vaginal dilatation too. Yeah, but mostly I was brought up around a lot of shame, hiding the truth. My parents didn't really want to tell me everything because that was the recommendation of the doctors, no, the kid is not ready, better you don't tell them. And I would ask questions, and sometimes specific questions, and sometimes I was told like actual lies about my body. I was also waiting for my period as a teenager for years, until at like 17 I realized like, oh, actually I'm not gonna have
Not
periods.
coming. No one even told me about it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I think intersex conditions in general are difficult experiences, and it's changing now, but the way that they're being handled by the medical institutions are also pretty awful. When you have like you're just like a sensitive child who afraid, and you have these specialists, male doctors, endocrinologists in the high research hospital and putting fingers into your vagina, and like trying to act cool, but you can tell that they're not cool, and yeah, I was really feeling awful, and I've been battling with depression parts of my life, and I really think that the stress and the shame and the fear that I experienced as a child and a teenager has something to do with it. But I also know that my work with mushrooms and plant medicine has helped me so much to come to terms with this condition. In so many ways, I think there was, when I found out about this, because I wasn't told about my condition, so I found out by reading about it in my mom's computer. I found the document about it. And then there's this confusion, you're like, well, I was brought up as a woman, as a girl, and apparently I have these other chromosomes, but what does that mean even, I don't know. And it's not really, something that you can talk about, like, hey, dude, like, how does it feel like to be XY, or how does it feel like to be XX, like, I don't know. So you kind of go deeper, you need to go into the essence of life, of genetics, of embodiments, and medicine takes you there. So in those really deep states of transcendence, I think I've come to touch, this kind of, this deep kind of archetypal force of female and male energy, the in-between, which I feel, which in many indigenous traditions is also something very sacred, like a divine of opposites. So, where my mind couldn't find concepts to heal my scared hearts, I found this kind of deeper way to approach these concepts, these ideas. And also just kind of, the emotional healing and the guidance that I've been really blessed to receive from the medicines, like helping me to realize like, hey, okay, I'm not this hurts child anymore. also helping me to realize like, wow, I was told when I was 8 years old that I wasn't going to have children. uh, Actually, I think that set me on a spiritual path, and that set me on looking out these experiences, knowing that my destiny wasn't just to, get a reasonably good job and get a house and raise some kids, and that's it. That's what everyone else is doing.
Mm.
So yeah, I really believe in psychedelics, supporting people with these conditions, supporting people with special sexual identities, gender identities. Um, I'm actually really excited that I'm going to meet people that share my condition for the first time. Like, too emotional to
Beautiful.
talk about it online, but
Wow.
yeah, soon, in like a month and a half.
Wow.
So, and we're gonna take some measurements.
Okay.
Uh, so yeah,
Beautiful.
it's very
I thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. It's yeah, I found it super beautiful, because I didn't know for some time after I knew about your condition that me from my own perspective, I found really fascinating. Um, and uh, what I found even more fascinating is that um, with this condition, you were still a person who provided me this beautiful women's only space, and that you are drawn to this work, to drawn the work with the just a female spaces, that it's that's why I was asking, like, where do you see the connection between your own your own story and how it guide you maybe into be interested in working with of course you work with the mixed groups as well, but the women's only spaces, which is beautiful. So with this I just wanted to tell you thank you for that. Yeah, thank you for doing the work in the way that you are doing. You are amazing space holder. Oh my God, I was just blown away in many different ways, of course, but of course, but yeah, like I love your presence so much. Like I love the way how you hold the space, or what I experienced with you. It was really special for me. Thank you for it. And
yeah.
maybe just on the end of this interview, we can share that we are collaborating on some really beautiful event together. That people who might be interested, anyway, who might be interested in the work that you do and the offers you do, so they can find it on the website. Plus, we are also creating something really lovely and special in Portugal this year in September. So it's just an invitation to check out the website that will be added in the description of this video. And is there any little magic that you would like to add to it?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there is so much that we could have talked
Yeah,
about, in this short conversation, or
yeah,
not that short, but that didn't get a
yeah.
space maybe. So yeah, if you're interested in hearing more, if you have ideas to share,
Mm,
perspectives, it's going out to the audience out there. Well, yeah, just get in touch, come and meet us, come and join,
yeah.
and we can take this conversation further. Um, yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Cecile. Thank you for your time, and thank you for bringing, your heart and your wisdom into this conversation. And yeah, thank you a lot. It's beautiful. It's beautiful that you accepted this invitation. I was really happy. And thank you for being the part of the Women and Psychedelics series
Yeah.
of these videos. /podcasts. Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, my pleasure. It's yeah, it's just great to be able to share, some of the bits that I've been
Mm,
picking up from, many years of being on this path. And yeah, just really praying that oh, I'm seeing an eagle out of my window, so there it goes.
beautiful.
Really praying that you know, yeah, women who are feeling the call
Mm,
find the spaces, finds the tribe to connect to this wild part of themselves, to this
yeah.
wise part of themselves, to this beautiful, spirited, whole
Mm,
uh, part, and that we can really come again together to remember collectively
mm,
that prayer looks like, where
yeah.
everyone has a space and where we remember that our healing and the prayer that we're putting out there is making a difference to our communities and to the earth. So,
Beautiful. Thank you. Wow, amazing. Thank you for this cherry on the psychedelic cake. Yeah, cherry on the top. Beautiful. Lovely. So, yeah, thank you so much for this time, and I hopefully, or we hopefully can see you soon.
thank you so
Bye.
much.
Bye.
Bye.